Watch this video, then we'll talk.
The law has developed is utterly insane. These are just a few cases that demonstrate how bad it has truly gotten. Corbett versus Vickers, 11th Circuit 2019. Qualified immunity granted for officer who, hunting a fugitive, ended up at the wrong house and forced 6 children, including 2 children under the age of 3, to lie on the ground at gunpoint. The officer tried to shoot the family dog but missed and shot a 10-year-old that was lying face down 18 inches away from the officer. The court held that there was no prior case where an officer accidentally shot a child laying on the ground while the officer was aiming at a dog. So the officer got off. Jessup versus City of Fresno, 9th Circuit, 2019. Qualified immunity granted for officers who stole hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and rare coins from a person while executing a search warrant. The court held that the theft was morally reprehensible, but could find no prior case that addressed these exact specific circumstances. So how were the officers supposed to know that this was a violation of someone's rights? Yeah, I'm being dead serious. Doe versus Woodard, 10th Circuit, 2019. Qualified immunity granted for social worker who strip searched a preschooler without a warrant and photographed her naked body. Oh, God. Using a county-issued cell phone. The social worker never told the child's mother about the search, and the mother only learned of the search when the child told her mother that she hoped not to see the social worker because, quote, I don't like it when she takes all my clothes off. The court could find no prior case with similar facts. Young versus Borden, 11th Circuit, 2017. Qualified immunity granted to officers who, without a warrant, started banging on an innocent man's door without announcing themselves in the middle of the night. When the man opened the door holding his lawfully owned handgun, officers opened fire, killing him. Qualified immunity was indeed granted. Estate of Smart versus City of Wichita, 10th Circuit, 2020. Qualified immunity granted for officer who heard gunshots and fired into a crowd of hundreds of people in downtown Wichita, shooting bystanders and killing an unarmed man who was trying to flee the area. The court held that the shooting was unconstitutional, but there was no clearly established law that police officers could not, quote, open fire on a fleeing person they perhaps unreasonably believed was armed in what they believed to be an active shooter situation. AM versus Holmes, 10th Circuit, 2016. Qualified immunity granted to officers who arrested a child for burping in gym class, despite state law providing that officers could not arrest school children for, quote, noises or diversions that merely, quote, disturb the peace or good order of individual classes. This officer's protected. You getting the trend? Allah versus Milling. Qualified immunity granted for prison guards who kept a man awaiting trial on drug charges in extreme solitary confinement for 7 months. His alleged misconduct was asking to speak with a lieutenant about why he was not allowed to visit commissary. The court held that his constitutional rights were violated, but there were no prior cases concerning the particular practices employed by the prison. Kelsey versus Ernst, 8th Circuit, 2019. Qualified immunity granted to a police officer who grabbed a 5-foot-tall, 130-pound woman in a bear hug and body slammed her to the ground, breaking her shoulder and knocking her unconscious. The woman was neither fleeing nor resisting arrest, and she posed no threat to the officer or anyone else. Was not fleeing or resisting arrest. Baxter versus Bracey, 6th Circuit, 2018. Qualified immunity granted for officers who sent a police dog to attack a man who had already surrendered and was sitting on the ground with his hands in the air. The court held that a prior case holding it unconstitutional to send a police dog after a person who surrendered by laying on the ground was not sufficiently similar to this case involving a person who surrendered by sitting on the ground with his hands up.
Now, before we end, oh God, what's happening? Had some water. Now we're back. Okay. Now, before we dive into this much deeper conversation, I just want to lay I just want to share some definitions of things. It's really just one. What is qualified immunity? So, link to this will be in the description. I think this is the National Association of Attorneys General. There it is. Haha. So, qualified immunity is a judicially established doctrine designated to fly. Sorry, there was a fly on my camera. Okay, we're back. Qualified immunity is a judicially established doctrine designed to protect public officials from liability when performing acts necessary to their job. This complex doctrine has continued to be a topic of controversy in today's political climate. For those working within the government sphere, qualified immunity is generally perceived as a necessary protection for normal business function. For those outside of the government sphere, qualified immunity may be viewed as a protection that enables some civil servants to commit acts that harm others without appropriate consequences. Do you know what civil servants have qualified immunity? ICE has qualified immunity. Now, this was introduced into the House in August, and there has been no moving forward. It is the Ending Qualified Immunity for ICE Agents Act. A lovely notion, a thing that, dare I say, should be passed. Will it be passed? Probably not. Why? Because fascism runs all the 3 branches. All 3 branches. It's not good. Now, if you ask me, this all goes back to slavery. This all goes back to slavery. Not almost everything in the United States, especially as it relates to our laws and the way that civilians are treated legally, it all goes back to slavery. Because you don't mean to tell me that the modern day slave catchers, the kidnappers 2.0, the homegrown, we will only kidnap people that are on this land. We're not going to go and kidnap people from other lands anymore. Supposedly that's not a bad thing. So we're only going to kidnap people here. But we need to have all of the leeway to be able to kidnap and torture these people by any means necessary. And you guys can't be mad at us. Like, you, the common folk, you law officials, none of you can be mad at us. So make that okay. And then they did that. And then slave catchers were able to travel all over the United States using any means necessary to kidnap people, either whether they were escaping to freedom or they were already free. 12 years a slave, hello, right? And then bring them back, get paid, completely unqualified immunity. Sorry, qualified immunity? It's unqualified. And now here we are, where the current iteration of those slave catchers are the police, and then we have the cop, and then we have the police, and then we have ICE, which also, hilariously enough, are now attacking the police. I don't know if you guys have seen those clips coming out of Chicago. Wild, low-key hilarious. Because what do you mean the cops are like, oh my God, we're full of tear gas. Oh my gosh, they attacked us. Somebody help us. These are your friends. Hey, cousin. That's them, right? So you don't mean everything. If people just care, if Black people were considered people from the beginning, first of all, none of us, I wouldn't have been born in the United States. I wouldn't have been born on that hemisphere, first and foremost. But also, you know what? I can't even imagine a world. I can't even imagine a world right now with that. So let's just take it a little bit closer to the present. If after slavery, all of the people that kidnapped, enslaved, raped, tortured, all of those demons were punished for their crimes against humanity to the fullest extent of the law, which would likely mean none of them exist anymore, then we would not be in this situation today. Because, and then let's bring it even closer to the future, right? So World War II, Nazis came, murdered so many people, a lot of Jewish people, a lot of disabled people, a lot of queer people, a lot of Black people, murdered, slaughtered, tortured. The United States took a bunch of them in. Argentina took a lot in also, a couple other countries, but Argentina and the United States are the two big ones that took a lot of those torturers, those murderers, those slaughterers, those evil people, and said, don't worry about it, we'll take you in. Shh, here's a job. It's all the repetition of the same history. Now, I personally, Shayna, I statements, I would love to possibly imagine a world in which this cancer that has fully inundated the body of the United States, this, if we're calling the United States a person, the baby was born cancerous, bone cancer. It's in the enamel. And now this baby is full grown. This baby does not know this person now does not know an experience that is not riddled with cancer. And then you just expect it to be healthy with an election or two? And this isn't even just about the Kamala situation. This is this is all the elections. Oh yeah, the United States is progressing and such, this has been a cancerous nation from the very beginning. Now, I personally said, once it made sense to me, I was like, unless we burn this whole thing down and start from scratch, I don't see a way personally. I don't see a way forward. And I'm like, that's not my fight. That's not my fight. I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm scared. And that is not my fight. So I left. Currently in Thailand, for those of you who don't know. But yeah, this qualified immunity, this ongoing qualified immunity situation, like the pattern of it lets you know just how deep it runs and that they have no intention on changing this. Because let's say that they do change it. Let's say that they do take away qualified immunity from police, from ICE, from all of these slave catchers, right? Let's say that they remove qualified immunity. Then all of those people are going to be tried for their crimes. Not just them, lawmakers, politicians. All of them are going to be tried for their crimes to the fullest extent of the law. They'd sign up for that. Imagine trying to create a consequence, the idea of a consequence for somebody who cannot fathom that their actions have consequences. Imagine trying to reason with somebody who cannot fathom a consequence. Imagine trying to negotiate with somebody who cannot fathom a consequence. Imagine trying to use a legal system against a collection of people that cannot fathom a consequence. Like, this is what, how do I say this without making people mad? Let me put it this way. I am amazed that people have not started physically fighting back against ICE sooner. I've been seeing like clips here and there, right? But I am kind of amazed that this didn't start much sooner, especially under this administration, because like I just saw a video where a man was literally granted asylum. He was granted asylum at that courtroom. He left the courtroom, immediately detained by ICE. Like, they've taken parents and left kids on the roadside. They have and a lot of these people, you don't know if they're ICE. You can get that whole costume off Etsy, ship direct. Women have been getting assaulted and raped. People have been missing. There's so much. People who do not know consequences, and the government has proved that they will not give them consequences. What incentive do they have to be law-abiding citizens? What incentive do they have to abide by the laws that they have no consequences when they break them? This is why when I talk about the options that people have, there's really only two. You can leave. I'm one of the people that have left. I will be gone. My visa is for 5 years, and then I will probably just renew it. Or I really like Thailand. Personally, for what I need, I really like it here, so I'll probably just renew it afterwards. But you can leave. If you're interested in leaving, head over to Black Babes Abroad. Link up there, free checklist in the description if you are curious about getting your life in order to move abroad. Or you can fight back. At this point, those are your options. Now, fighting back will look different for everybody. We've got the community organizers. We've got the people that can actually be on the front lines. We have the messengers. We have there's so many ways to fight back. But also if when they come knocking, please do not go silent into that bad night. But hey, these thoughts are my thoughts. My thoughts led me to my decisions to do so. Because this qualified immunity thing, which is, once again, it's not a new thing. Giving it to ICE is relatively new, and now we're seeing what ICE is doing with qualified immunity, and I would Like for people, unfortunately, they're going to get real creative with it. The levels of which they can use unqualified immunity. So be safe out there. Be safe out there. If you're thinking about leaving, because they're making it really hard for people to leave. People are able to. Now, they're making it even more difficult as time goes on for folks to leave. So if this is something that you're even contemplating, get more information. I'm not saying that you got to pack up all your bags right here, right now. But if you're thinking about it, get more information. Black Babes Abroad, lots of info. We're sharing stories. We're giving advice. We are highlighting other Black women, femmes, queer people. We're highlighting other people's stories so that way you can see what else is out there and hopefully get your questions answered. Please. If you want one-on-ones with people, but information is all there. Stay safe out there. Stay sane out there. Take care of yourself. Build community. I love you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Build community in the comments. I think that's all for now. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.